It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Good morning. It is Monday, September the 25th. Whew, baby, Skinnerd. What's that line say? And be a simple kind of man. Oh, be something you love and understand. Oh. Be a simple kind of man. Won't you do this for me, son, if you can? I mean, we're all trying. We're trying to lead simple lives. You know, we're trying to, do the things, pursue the things that mean the most to us, that we love and understand. So here's a question. Here's something simple, okay? And it's a tweet I just saw. Kirk Cousins leads the league in passing yards right now. Justin Jefferson leads the league in receiving yards right now. Daniel Hunter, how do you say it? Daniil. I keep saying Daniel. I know. Daniil Hunter leads the league in sacks. We have the sack leader, the receiving yards leader, the passing yards leader. The Vikings are 0-3. I'm too simple a guy to make sense of it.
The coach has got to go.
Okay, thanks. Appreciate it. That's it.
Yeah, I think that's
it.
I think a lot of this is, it's starting to be exposed, isn't it? O'Connell just doesn't have a grip on this team.
Could very well be the case. There are definitely some moments like the end of the game yesterday when the Chargers just hand you the ball, 25 yards away from the end zone. When their coach makes a gaffe like Staley going on 4th and 1, I mean that's the football gods saying to you, we brought you the Chargers for a reason. We know you needed this. You needed the Chargers more than anything, and here they have now charged their Charger little hearts out right into your defensive line, and they've gone nowhere. Here's the ball. You've got the leading. You've got the guy with the most yards and the guy with the most receiving yards. Here you go, guys. Knock yourselves out. And then along the way, boy, what there was the one. Spike the ball. Can we not? Spike the ball.
Everyone was yelling, spike the ball. You could hear fans on the stand yelling, spike the ball. And then Kirk Cousins says, well, I couldn't hear. And you know what I loved is O'Connell said it may have been crowd noise. Are you blaming the loss on the
home crowd noise?
Is that what you're blaming it on? He said, yeah, it was too loud. And Kirk Cousins said, yeah, I couldn't hear him. Couldn't hear what? Spike the ball.
You've been there before.
That's very true. That's one of those things like I was at the free throw line and it was so loud I couldn't tell if they wanted me to make the free throw or not. Yeah. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah.
Boy, that's something. What do they say? It's getting late kind of early around here.
Yeah.
It's not impossible. 0-3 since 1979. There are 6 teams that have started the seasons 0-3 and gone to the playoffs. That's happened 6 times. Right. Lucky 7, maybe. We'll have to see. The division's not doing. I mean, we got the Bears, thankfully.
Yeah.
That game. The Bears game, that's so embarrassing.
Candace, how embarrassing was it?
Well, I didn't watch the Bears game, but it was just the score.
The score.
Like,
the Bears are. The Bears might literally be
the Denver game.
Denver and Chicago vying for biggest grease fire.
Oh.
The Bears. That's just astonishing because. When you're down 41-0, what do you expect to see? The other quarterback getting a ton of yards because it's just garbage time. That you expect the team with that kind of lead just lays back, lets you pick up yards. It doesn't even matter what happens. Justin Fields, I don't even think he had 100 yards passing for the day. That is a terrible football team. The Bears are kind of quietly around the league. They're the worst franchise for coming up on 4. I mean, they won the whole thing. The 85 season, they got that ring. And ever since then, what an abysmal, awful, horrible franchise the Chicago Bears are.
Consistently horrible.
Yeah. Just when Jay Cutler is your shining a night, for one season. I mean, seriously, man. The fact they made it to a Super Bowl with Rex, gross, man. With that guy leading them into a Super Bowl speaks about the NFC that year more than anything. But the Bears, thankfully for the Vikings, I'm going to go ahead and say. You got okay. Well, let's see. Well, that's 2 wins. What else we got on the schedule? Oh, that's right. The Chiefs are all right. Never mind. I just talked myself in and out of the playoffs.
Yeah, we got 49ers coming.
Niners and Chiefs. It's going to be a rough season. But at least we're not the Bears. But would you rather be the Bears or would you rather be the Broncos? Would you rather want to burn it all down? Well, this team's going to go. Look, the Vikings could still win 8 games. They could win 7 games. Yeah. Whatever. Middle of the pack is where they're going to be. Would you rather be 1-16 with a chance at a great franchise quarterback. Would you rather torch the season now? And again, because now here we back are, the Jets still need a quarterback. What if Kirk Cousins were to leave? So what if we just, kind of pack up the old purple and gold bandwagon for the year and hope to get a great quarterback in the draft?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I would have rather been at a nice fancy brunch yesterday than watching that game. It was very stressful.
See, there you go, then, Candace. That's speaking right to the heart of the issue here, I think. It's tough. I mean, it's tough to sit there and go, yeah, we're pretty good. We've got, like I said, we've got these things that you would think are indicators of a team on its way to a successful campaign. Cousins, as per usual, putting up the numbers. Yeah. Jefferson, is there a wide receiver anybody in the league would take over JJ? No.
No.
And here we sit.
Yeah, but, I just don't. Who's going to offer crap for Cousins right now? Because he's got stats. You know what they also have? They have game film. And they see a quarterback that just doesn't get it done. That might come in. I mean, say the Jets brought him in because supposedly they have this great defense. We haven't seen it yet in 3 weeks.
No.
This defense that was supposed to carry the Jets. But, I mean, the Jets aren't going to give up their now would-be first-round pick because they're giving a second-round pick to Green Bay because Aaron Rodgers didn't play 65% of the season. So they have a first-round pick out there in a team. But I just don't know that. You know what? You want to tank a season? Leave Kirk Cousins right where he's at.
Boy, that's a... Whew. You tank a season while stockpiling stats.
I mean, stockpiling stats. I'm just saying, if you can shop him out there and you're not going to bring him back next season and gain some cap money on it. But I just don't know what team is going to give up a lot, high draft picks or a bundle of draft picks for Kirk Cousins.
Nobody's wondering about recent life decisions. However, more than Sean Payton. The man was talking about football, making millions of dollars, sitting on the sidelines. He takes the Denver Broncos job. They're 0-3. They've given up well over 100 points, 70 yesterday, the most points given up since 1950. Yeah. I mean, this is. But here's what it comes down to. Before the season started, he talked about his predecessor, Nathaniel Hackett, the coach of the Broncos last year, and, quote, it might have been one of the worst coaching jobs in the history of the NFL. That's how bad it was. Yeah. No, the key word there is it might have been. We now know that it wasn't. We now know that is this year's Denver Broncos coaching job.
Came in with such arrogance, and listen, I mean, I think that's... Right, exactly. Yeah. That he just came in with such arrogance that I'll turn this team. Guess who you don't have? Drew Brees anymore.
That's exactly right. An 18-point lead at home last week disintegrates to the Commanders of all teams. And then yesterday, if you haven't seen it, honestly, Tua and the Dolphins just played like 7-on-7 grab-ass passing drills. And the Broncos just were on the field doing something. I can't remember a game on any level. No. That's like one of those mid-'90s Nebraska versus Kansas games. You know what I mean? Like where they just 70 points in an NFL game. I've never seen or imagined anything like it. It's just mind-boggling. Anyway, my point is this: could be worse, I suppose.
Yeah, it could be worse. Over 700 yards offense there for Tua in the game.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Well, the Twins are in, right? We've got a playoff berth. They wrapped that up, and the Wild got started. So on to other sports.
Hope springs eternal, baby.
Coming up. Well, I think the story everyone's going to be talking about today, will Pauly Shore play Richard Simmons in a biopic? Mike Evans, Hollywood Report at 6:30. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show for Monday, September the 25th, a high holy day in the world of rock music, which we will discuss a little later this segment. But right now, let's talk about Hollywood, baby. Looks like we're back in business. Maybe it's time for the Mike Evans Hollywood Report. Good morning, Mike.
Hey, good morning. Good morning. How was your weekend?
Weekend was fine. Thank you very much. Took in the Twins on Friday night, clinched, got the division after that. It's a good thing right now. We're not talking about the Vikings. So move on, please.
No. Maybe Twins, Dodgers, World Series, a little wager, a little game going, huh? What do you think?
I will wager that World Series doesn't happen, but sure, go for it.
Okay. What do you mean you're sure that's not going to happen?
I'm sorry, there's other teams in the mix that I feel better about than both the Twins and your Dodgers. But hey, man, miracles happen.
This report brought to you by our good friends at Marcus Theaters. Don't forget, Value Tuesday, $6 for any movie and 20% off all concessions. And the theater of the day for me is the Southbridge Crossing Cinema. There you go. There you go. Okay, so let's get to this. I mean, the love nugget. For weeks and weeks, we have heard the rumors. I've mentioned it, that Taylor Swift and Kansas City Chief Travis Kelce were dating. I said, well, on Friday, I said, well, we'll see if Taylor shows up at Kansas City on Sunday to watch the Chiefs games. Well, as you know by now, everybody knows she did show up.
She did? Oh, I hadn't seen that. Huh. Go figure.
Right. So there you go. I'm sure we'll be following that.
She looked great.
She uses guys and throws them away, but I don't know.
Hey, I'll give her credit, man. Sat there with Kelsey's mom. She knows she's on camera the entire game. She acted as if she was a Chiefs lifer. She's cheering. I mean, the look of, oh, my God, like
jumping
nonstop.
Down,
I mean, that woman, give her an Oscar for yesterday's performance.
Absolutely. Pounding on the glass when he scored the touchdown. I mean, yeah.
You could see her. She mouthed, well, she said it, but you could see her. She said, let's blanking go. Really loud. I thought that was perfect.
In front of his mom. Classic.
America's new love couple. 48-year-old Leonardo DiCaprio and 25-year-old Italian supermodel. Her name is Vittoria Ceriti. Have been quietly dating now. I found out for months. Most of their time spent in Spain and Europe, but recently just casually spotted walking on the beach eating ice cream in Santa Barbara. Friends say it's no fling, it's the real deal. We'll see. I'll keep my eye on it and let you know. You brought it up, Steve, absolutely. Writer's strike now obviously apparently settled. I can tell you over the weekend I was getting buzzes about some production companies and actors over the weekend were meeting, planning, scheduling, shooting schedules. So looks like it's a done deal, and I'm glad. I'm happy for him, aren't you?
I'm thrilled.
That's great.
I'm very happy. Mike, this may come as a surprise to you, but I am a member of the Writers Guild of America.
You're kidding.
Yeah, I'm not. Go figure. Wow. Isn't that crazy? I've been on strike this whole time, and I hadn't even mentioned it.
That's very good. Good for you.
Yeah, every now and again you get your name on something, and you go, oh, really? Cool. Right on.
I'm surprised you didn't go on strike. And
I did here in Minneapolis.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just walked around and said hi to folks. And that was it's called a silent strike. That's the way I roll.
I like it. Movie news: Warner Brothers Studio is begging everybody that was involved, for a Barbie sequel, but Margot Robbie turned down $50 million cash, saying she has zero interest in ever making another one of those.
Yeah, she's an executive producer of the one that just made a couple of bills. $50 million ain't going to get her an eyebrow raised.
Yeah, exactly. And the next one would probably be a flop. So,
by the way, can we just thank anybody on Earth who says no thanks to a sequel? I mean, leave it and move on to the next thing. My God, we got writers again. We don't need sequels.
Thank you. I guess it was just too much blood and guts and explosions and decapitations and mayhem for the folks. Despite all the stars, the Expendables 4 got spanked by the Nun.
Oh, boy.
The box office.
We've all got stories of that, huh? Spanked by a nun?
Yeah. Well, I dreamed about it one time, but that's another story completely. TV news, I don't know. If you care, Jamie Lynn Spears makes her debut on Dancing with the Stars tonight. So this is a weird one, Steve. Britney Spears has timed the release of her tell-all book, which I'm sure you can hardly wait for.
Okay.
It's called The Woman in Me. October 24th, it'll drop.
Oh, boy.
With a October 23rd and a October 25th, a 2-day re-release in theaters of her 2002 movie Crossroads. Crossroads may have been the lamest movie ever made.
You hush.
Easy. Here comes Wheeler. She's going to get her ire.
Who would go see that junk?
I would.
Candace Wheeler.
It hasn't got better in 21 years, and it's been on Netflix for 20 years.
Listen, there's one ticket in Minnesota that's spoken for. And you know what, Candace? Go see it on a Tuesday if you can.
Yeah, it has to be only the 23rd and 25th, though. I'll check those days. Tuesday. Sports shorts, my Friday football picks, 1-3. Cowboys peed all over themselves.
They sure did.
Oh, my God. I'm in a $40,000 one-and-done pool. I thought Dallas was an easy pick. Well, it didn't turn out that way. How about Miami laying 70 on Denver?
Yeah, not a bad day for the Fins. I have one friend in this planet who is a lifer Dolphin fanatic, and for the first time ever while the Dolphins were playing, he did not return a text. That's how happy he was.
Wow.
Literally wasn't looking at his phone. It was hilarious. It must have been like I can't imagine a team I liked scoring 70 points. I wouldn't return text either.
It isn't Neil Mursky, is it?
It is not.
Okay. Do you know Neil?
No. Never heard of the man till right now.
He's a big radio guy down in Miami.
Bless his heart.
And regarding the 42-6 beatdown Oregon gave Deion Sanders' Colorado,
Yeah.
Deion told his team before the game, the winner isn't always the biggest dog in the fight. It's the biggest fight in the dog. Well, on Saturday, it was the bigger, faster, meaner, more talented dog that beat Colorado.
No doubt. I like Deion Sanders after the game saying, they said, what happened? He goes, what do you mean what happened? We got our asses kicked.
Got our asses kicked, yeah, absolutely.
Well, you didn't see that?
So the Vikings, we put them aside. The Twinkies, we've been talking about the Twins ever since spring training.
Yeah.
And I predicted they'd make it to the playoffs, and they look good.
They you know what, they got a nice little ball club, had a fine season, and there is now, especially with the rest of you guys can speak to this more than me, with the Vikings 0-3, there's just clearly all of a sudden Twins are front and center, right? I mean, generally speaking, in the Twin Cities, would you imagine, Zep?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, the Wild don't really get started here until October. Preseason just started. But, yeah, the Twins, we got some pitching back. The guys can swing the bats. You know, it's postseason. It can happen.
Is there any interest in the Gophers?
Well, I mean, they didn't have a great weekend, but some, I guess. You mean basketball?
And one more thing, Steve. Now, listen, you sort of got into me here for a second. So, say the Twins go all the way to the World Series. Of course, I worked for the Dodgers for a while, so I love the Dodgers. Who do you like in the National League over the Dodgers?
The Atlanta Bravos, baby.
Oh, babe, come on, man.
Come on, man.
Man, it's 75 to the 85 downtown. I can't stand that city.
Yeah, no, we're not going to talk about the traffic. I mean, and by the way, they're not even the Atlanta Braves. They're the Cobb County Braves now, so screw them. I hope the Dodgers do beat them, but I think the Braves will win it. Took that team right out of downtown. You're dead to me.
It's going to be fun, though. It's going to be a fun playoffs. Can't wait.
100%.
Hey, have a great day, everybody. Be safe. Talk to you tomorrow. See you.
Thank you, Mike. Evans right there.
Wow.
I love how he mentions Neil. What was it? Neil Mursky? Radio Mike. Yeah. He assumes that anyone you'd possibly know just works in radio.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't know anyone else outside of that.
That's pretty good. For all we know, he just made that name up. And, you know, Neil Mursky's a guy that took his girlfriend in 8th grade, and he still just throws them out there as a reference point. Real quick, before history, on the Facebook page, the post, we're trying to make sense of the Vikings game yesterday. The fact that the Vikings, on paper, statistically, are just dominant. They're 0-3. Carl Franklin has already won the day with this one. The question was, make sense of the game, and he wrote, I was out chopping wood. That's how you handle any major sports. That way, you didn't waste any time, and you have a pile of wood to burn and drink beer and laugh at your sports friends.
Yep.
I can't tell if that's a cash call. I was out chopping wood.
It's probably both.
Yeah,
man, pretty strong. He also said we can come to the bonfire anytime he has it. Tony can only come if he brings snacks. The rest of the crew is always welcome.
No, I'm a snack bringer.
Oh, yeah.
Sounds like we're making plans around here. Fair enough. All right, well, as long as we're making plans, let's look back. How about a history lesson?
Today, on this day,
nothing happened. Yes, it did.
Yes, it did. So what happened?
What is it, Steve?
Oh, I'll tell you what happened. September 25th, in 1965, Satchel Paige came into a baseball game. The Kansas City Athletics were dying in the standings, and they brought in the retired Satchel Paige from the old Negro League pitcher, as the league was called at the time. They figured, hell, he'll sell some tickets. Bring him in. It was just a shtick, right? Well, he went out and shut out the Red Sox for 3 innings. He struck out one, gave up only 1 hit, and that was to Carl Yastrzemski. Why is this that interesting? He was 60. He shut out the Red Sox for 3 innings at 60. Hadn't pitched in years. Satchel Paige very famously said, "Don't look back. Something might be gaining on you." Words to live by.
My favorite quote of his, he said, "How old would you be if you didn't know how old you was?"
That's even better. That's exactly right. And this day in 2001, Michael Jordan announced, "I'm returning to the NBA as a player for the Washington Wizards." It had been 3 years since he beat the Jazz. That iconic final image of him holding the still life after he hit that shot over Brian Russell to win the 98 title. And he came on this day in 2001 and said, "I'm coming back. I'm going to play for Washington." And the entire planet yet again came together around Michael Jordan. Only this time we all said, "Please don't do this. Please just go away. God, why mess with it?" By the way, he's still really good. He just wasn't MJ 90s good.
Well,
Gabriel.
Nothing defines a generation more than their slang. So we're talking about slang, the most and least popular slang for each generation here at 9 o'clock. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
It is Monday, September the 25th. That was Queen. Nothing like being in a band where one guy comes in and goes, "Hey, I wrote a song. It's called We Will Rock You, and it's going to have foot stomps and hand claps, and it's going to get crowds all around the world to be a part of the show." And everyone hears it and goes, "Yeah, that's really cool." And then another guy in the band goes, "Oh, I wrote a song. It might pair nicely with that. It's called We Are the Champions." And then the next day they put the songs together, and the rest is rock history. Yeah. Queen, good band. That's all I'm saying. Ooh. You know, it helps to work with the right people sometimes. And then I just saw this. I just saw a tweet as we were listening to Queen. And someone tweeted, "Explaining to a child that we're mortal and that death is inescapable is absolutely the hardest part of being a party clown." I don't know. It just struck me as kind of funny. Didn't see that one coming at all. You know, hey, you know what's coming on this show? In about 30 minutes, we're going to give away Peter Gabriel tickets. We're going to play a game called Trust Us. That's a lot of fun. We will let you know when the time is right. Desmond Child is going to join us in 1 hour. Desmond Child, hit maker. He is a ringer. The ringer that many a rock band has called into the studio to go, "Hey, we got this song. There's missing something." And he goes, "Yeah, it's missing this, this, and this, and then it's a hit song." He's that guy. Written a ton of hits that we all love. And I've met Desmond Child on a couple of occasions. Fascinating cat. We're going to chat with him in an hour. I look forward to that. In 2 hours, Robert Smith, Vikings icon, or as we call him, the Vicon, will join us. And we'll talk about this 0-3 start to the season, a season that will end with glories unimagined.
Let's not panic.
Or unrealized. I'm not sure, something. But we're going to talk. So that's a good, you know, we got a lot to get into is my point here.
I'm excited.
I'm excited too, Candace. What are you, Candace? Gen Z, millennial? What are you?
Whoa, millennial.
Heck are you?
You're a millennial?
Yeah.
Okay. So, do you find yourself still texting or hashtagging OMG? Like, is that a thing in your life? OMG.
I say OMG a lot, yes,
you do?
in text, but I don't hashtag it. That's dorky.
Okay. Well, do you ever say things are lame? Do you use the term lame? Oh, that's lame.
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
Do you recommend that people simply chill on occasion?
Chill, man. Yeah.
All right. Well, then by God, you are right there. Slang terms millennials use, the ones they love, OMG, chill, and lame. Well done, Candace.
Cool, yeah.
That's fantastic.
I mean, they're not my favorite. I say dude a lot, and I say groovy a lot, so I'm kind of all over the map.
I like groovy.
I feel like the millennials sort of, didn't they just take the Gen Xers slang terms?
Did they? Did they just adopt the Gen X?
I mean, yeah, we've been using that since the 80s.
Oh, I always get confused. I thought Gen X was younger than me. I'm dumb.
No,
Sorry.
that's Gen Z.
Gen Z.
No, Gen X is us.
Got it.
This is
we're
just
old guys.
post-boomer.
Yeah.
We just stole your
Post-boomer
stuff.
Gen X, yeah. That's interesting. For the record, OMG, thankfully, the Gorman second child was a girl, because if she had been a he, that would have been Owen Michael Gorman, and I would have been stuck with a kid whose initials were OMG, or I should say my kid would be stuck. Really glad that we lucked out of that one. For Gen X, that's me, that's Zep. Tony, are you a boomer or Gen X?
I'm right on the cusp.
Right on the cusp.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then for Gen X, chill is definitely still a big slang term for Gen X. Lame also there, but then the other one, bummer.
Oh, yeah.
Bummer.
Gnarly. That was a big one. I remember gnarly.
Gnarly brought on mostly, if memory serves, from Jeff Spicoli.
Probably,
a student
yeah.
at Ridgemont
Gnarly.
High.
Yeah.
Gnarly. Boomers, they still say bummer. They also like the word mellow and wannabe.
Sure.
Wow. like boomers who are wannabe hippies. They were, and then they weren't, just like that. Then they were like, wait a minute, hang on a second.
They went straight from hippies smoking pot and dropping acid to disco and snorting coke.
They sure did. Boy, The Big Chill was truly an illustrative movie, was it not?
It sure was. Veg Out. Who? I remember using that one a lot. Who was Veg? Was that X, Generation X, I think? Probably us?
It's tough to know.
Veg Out.
We are referencing a study that they were looking at the most and least popular slang for all age groups. Boomers are apparently hate the terms Gucci and sheesh. Who says Gucci?
Gucci.
What the hell's that got to do with anything? Hey, boomers, guess what? You guys are in a bubble. No one says Gucci about anything anymore.
Gag me with a spoon.
That sounds exactly what
couch
that is.
potato. When was that?
That was just general. That was good old fashioned. Like that's 80s, 90s. That's Gen X. Couch potato. I think.
Something's bitching.
Could be
Bitching, man.
Yeah. Sure. Okay, you mentioned groovy, Candace?
Yeah, I just say it a lot. I don't know why.
Well, I mean, this says Gen X is also they want to bring back groovy. See, there are things I hear people say, and sometimes I think we got to bring that back around. And one's an AC/DC. I like the concept of instead of saying "oh damn it" or "oh man," I want to start saying "oh hell's bells." I want it to be a part of my thing, and I just can't remember to ever do it.
That was my mom's big one.
Was it really?
Hell's Bells and Judas Priest.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Hell's Bells is a good one.
I know,
like
it was a great AC/DC album, and then Judas Priest. Every time she said it, I would giggle. I'm like, yeah, they rock, Mom. Like the guy, baby.
I have a friend in Florida whose name is Groovy.
What?
Groovy?
First or last?
It's just groovy, man. He's like Madonna in that way.
Nice.
And,
is he
and
groovy?
He is. He's very groovy. He looks like he just stepped out of that 70s show, but for real. His entire aesthetic is locked in time, in a different time. He's a guitarist and a singer-songwriter guy and a hell of a carpenter. He does a lot of fascinating things.
He is groovy.
And he's just been called groovy for as long as I've known him.
I like it.
But he has an EY, groovy. So just to separate himself from all the other groovies out there.
Sure.
He's doing his thing. Here's something that's kind of groovy. So dating shows. We all grew up with, let's see, what did we have? We had the dating game, right? Obviously.
The newlywed game.
The newlywed game. Oh, man. Let's bring out the wives to see if they predicted what you'd say.
In the book, Bob.
Man, the newlywed game was totally insane. So now, and every now and again, they bring back a dating game or something like that. And generally speaking, in the modern age, people think it's kind of inappropriate or, oh, this is silly. This is so offensive to so and so and so and so. And if that's the way you feel, then you are going to love a show that just hit Max. It's a British dating show. Max is what we used to call HBO, and then HBO Max, and now it's just Max. But they are airing a British dating show. The show is called, and tell me if you can see where this is going, Naked Attraction.
Okay.
Naked Attraction.
Something to do with nudity, I'm guessing.
Here it is. In each episode, one person has 6 potential dates to choose from. 6, not 2 or 3. Let's say you're the contestant. Brian Zepp, here are 6 women for you to choose from.
All right.
Those dates, those 6 women will be completely naked. They are revealed one body part at a time. The last thing you see is their face.
Wow. So neck down until then.
Uh-oh, look out for the butterface.
As body parts are revealed, the chooser, the person who's the contestant, is eliminating potential dates until only 2 remain. Then the contestant takes off their clothes.
Okay.
And they offer their critiques. The 2 remaining potential dates then critique the contestant. Once a match is made, the couple then leaves on a date. They dress to then go on the date. They put their clothes back on.
Did they show that as viewers?
Yeah.
Do you get to see that in detail?
Max, yeah.
Oh yeah, no, it's all. There's a disclaimer that says the following series contains full frontal nudity, coarse language, and graphic discussions about the human body. Go ahead and start printing money right now.
In this dating show, we go back to basics.
Are you ready?
And start where a good date often ends. naked.
Wow. This is fantastic.
And could picking a partner based solely on their natural beauty
Be a grower.
help us find the one?
I've never met anybody like this before and I don't know where to look.
Who are you going to pick for your date?
This is the hardest decision of my life. Oh my God.
Naked attraction.
Wacky, man.
I think they're gonna get away with it because they're British. Like it makes it a lot less like sexy and a lot less.
It's going to be huge.
Risque.
Yeah, it's not gross. It's just simply randy. If you can use the word randy, then you're the charm alone.
Oh
Are
my
you
God.
kidding?
What generation uses that?
British people, they all do. Oh, I was feeling awfully randy at the pub, wasn't I?
Uh-huh.
Yes. No, have you ever heard of a drink called Sex on the Beach? It made me awfully randy.
Saw BuzzFeed UK declared it the most utterly stupid dating show on TV. I'm in.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I'll watch it.
I'm sorry. What are we looking for in a dating show?
Yeah, right.
Like, seriously, like,
The cerebral.
That's exactly right. I'm curious. What are your thoughts on the Taft-Hartley Act? Well, hold on. Let me freshen my cocktail, and we'll dig into the ramifications. And
So they start with the feet, which is a tough place to start,
I'm out.
because everyone's pretty much out on feet. Very few feet can pull it off, right? I mean, there's just not a lot of attractive feet. I've dated
listen.
4 attractive feet. That's 2 people in my life.
I'm taking a look at mine right now. If you didn't know I had plantar fasciitis, you'd think I had great feet.
Okay.
They look fantastic. It's just when every now and again I stand up and go, that my feet present a problem. Other than that, no,
They're
I'm
all
good,
show, no go, man.
Yeah, same. Mine just have a lot of baggage that come along with them. You know, they need to be rubbed a lot. They have to be taken care of. And
What body part would we like to? What would we lead with? If they could start it anywhere we wanted, one of our body parts, where would we lead?
My buttocks.
All right. Tony's going to go with the ass. He's an ass man.
I kid you not. I'd go. I mean, look. Granted, I've got the legs of a Vegas showgirl, but
True.
But I really do think I'd go at my feet for one reason alone. They're huge, and they're really they do
right.
they are attractive, slender feet, and I'm not saying they're great looking feet. But so many feet aren't that they, by comparison, they look pretty good. They're probably better than you might expect.
That's your in.
You're shopping on the big feet. Yeah, because women, we all know what that means.
Of course.
We're
I mean, look,
landsmen.
it's kind of, I mean, I've said for years, I'm pretty good looking for an ugly guy. I mean, that's how I generally see myself. I'm on the acceptable cusp of the unacceptable, generally speaking.
All right.
And so my feet are actually stronger than anything else. I mean, I got no biceps. I got, there's nothing much else. I mean, I'm just kind of a doof.
I have no muscle definition.
Mom and Daddy call me Muscle Boy. No, not much going on. What are you leading with?
I've been thinking about it. I don't know. There's not much there. Calves.
Calves?
I mean, I don't know what I got. I mean, I think when I was in my 20s, if I was these dating people's age, and then maybe I could go with something else. But you're going to start at the feet, and it's not going to get much better, unfortunately.
Okay, Tony, you said buttocks?
Yeah.
No, well, for me, myself, I have nothing else but my eyes. So I'd have to go with my haunting green eyes.
I could curl
Save
up.
the best for last.
It's like laying in a hammock looking at those.
Other than that, I'm out of the game.
Candace?
maybe like my forearm. Or
wrist.
Beautiful
I
wrist.
have dainty wrists. Sometimes guys like that.
Little dainty wrist. Sure. If I judge a woman by whether I can put my middle finger and my thumb, if I can wrap that around her wrist and touch, then that's okay.
And by the way, they are getting away with it. It's been airing in England since 2016.
Are you serious?
Yeah, the show hosted by Anna Richardson first debuted in 2016 has aired 6 seasons, with a 7th currently on Channel 4, BBC.
I cannot believe I've never heard of this.
I know it. What took it so long to?
As a lifelong Anglophile with friends in the British Isles, no one's ever mentioned it to me.
Yeah, keeping it to themselves.
I need new friends.
Maybe it's just not well done. I mean, a good idea, but not done well.
That's very true. Wow. Well, you know what? Something tells me that we're all going to come back tomorrow with some insights. I got a Max login. I'll share it with whoever needs it.
Yeah.
Man, that's pretty great. I got to think, too. I mean, let's just put ourselves in that situation.
Could we warm up the studio a little bit? It's kind of chilly in here.
All kinds of things. All kinds of things. You either have to be the most well-adjusted, comfortable in your own skin person I've ever met,
all right,
or The only other explanation is you're a complete sociopath. There's no middle ground on this.
I know, just the grooming alone. And the lighting. Lighting's a big deal. We saw that with the television news anchors when everything went high definition and those bright lights, and you could see their makeup lines.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
That sort of thing. So we need to dim the lights a little bit, get some mood lighting going in there.
If they could, when you look at old footage of the dating game or the Newlywed Game, and it's just got that anything but high def look to. I don't even know what you would call it. It looks like Technicolor, like those shows used to be made in Technicolor. If they would produce this show so it looked like that, it would be way more of a turn on. Like because it would immediately bring us all back to that era, that age, and you'd be like, oh my God. But the fact that it's probably in bright lit high def, it's just anything but titillating. You know what I mean?
I'd be so drunk. By the way, I think it's already been added to Max, right? It says
it's on Max.
It's on Max now.
All right.
Yeah,
weird thing too. Where do you go for a date after seeing, someone in detail already naked?
I'm not really
bedroom.
sure.
I mean, honestly, how long are you, bonking before you even see somebody really completely naked? I've had I've been in entire relationships and had lots of sex with people that I've never really seen completely naked.
My penis?
Right. I've not seen you
There it is.
twice. I've had it in my mouth, Tony, and I've not fully taken a good look at it.
Oh, you went a little too far.
Yeah.
You guys, check out Tony's studio. There's some nice lamps in Tony's studio. The lighting is very nice in there.
Right. Right now on the Maple Grove Lock and Safe Talk and Text line, callers 9 and 2, 651-989-ROCK. We're playing Naked Dating. We're playing Trust Us for a chance to win tickets to Peter Gabriel. This is happening Tuesday, October 3rd at the Excel, prize provided by Live Nation. They're on sale now. And our runner-up gets Minnesota Wild versus Colorado Avalanche. Preseason, baby. It's back. Thursday at Excel Energy Center, prize provided by the Minnesota Wild. 651-989-ROCK. Dial up. Good luck. Hang tight.
Yeah, okay.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is September the 25th. That band we just heard, Led Zeppelin, they had a drummer. His name was John Bonham. He's pretty damn great. And on this day in 1980, he left us to spend the rest of our time wondering what could have been. The man was only 32 years old. Wow. I heard about John Bonham's death the next morning from Paul Harvey. Good day. Driving to school. In rock news, Led Zeppelin drummer John Bonham dead at age 32. They say he swung like a hammock. No, he didn't say that. But, he did swing like a hammock. John Bonham, whew, man, seriously, amazing to think all that young lad accomplished. And at 32 years old on this day, sayonara to the great Bonzo. All right, Peter Gabriel's going to be here on October 3rd. By here, I mean the XL Energy Center in St. Paul. I am thrilled because I have every intention of seeing that show. I've never seen the man, and from all accounts, it is a show worthy of attendance. And so, with that in mind, we'd like to share the love by giving away a couple of Peter Gabriel tickets. Tony, what do you think would be an appropriate game today to put our contestants through the ringer for?
Here's what I was thinking, because it's always fun.
Why should I believe you?
Why should I believe you?
You can trust us.
I hope you'll trust us.
Trust us.
Let's find out if you'll trust us.
Why should I trust you?
Why? Why should I trust you?
Come on. You up. You trusted us.
Yeah, listeners, do you really know us? Really? Can we be trusted? What we're going to do is each make a statement about ourselves, and you guess if it's true or false. It's simple. Today we're going to give it, because it's Monday, a football theme to our statements.
Nice.
To get to know us.
I like it. Football, yes, no, trust us or not. Let's roll, shall we? Candace, who is contestant number one?
Michael from Hastings.
Michael, good morning.
Good morning, Steve. How are you this morning?
I'm fine, thank you very much, sir. Are you ready to play Trust Us?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, get that BS detector up and running. Tony, why don't you lead off the game? This is your realm, and I'll hand it over to you, sir.
Why, I'd be delighted to. All right, sir. I played football in high school for the winless Highland Park Scotsmen, and the worst injury I sustained outside of bruises and nicks was a bloody lip and a black eye that I got tripping on the stairs getting on the team bus. Is that true or false?
I'm going to go with not true.
Oh, I'm sorry. Wow. That was my big injury. I tripped. Yep.
Pretty great. Pretty
Should
great.
have been wearing your helmet.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, Michael. Tony was not all-state material, as it turns out.
Not.
All right, we got a few more. We got a few more of these to go through, Michael. So don't lose hope here. Candace, why don't you take it away?
All right. Here's what happened. We were playing flag football, high school gym class outside. I twisted my weak ankle, and the captain of the football team carried me all the way back to the school, and then we kissed.
Wow.
On the lips.
Wow.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that last part, please?
Oh.
We kissed on the lips.
Okay. I'm going to go with not true.
Wow, rude.
Oh,
Wow. You're right, though.
Oh, wait.
Oh, he is right.
That was totally believe that, Candace.
I know, right?
Oh, I had like literally, if you looked in here, there were little hearts dancing around my head, like Pigpen, but with hearts instead of grime.
Nope. It was actually my teacher who carried me in, so that would be weird if we kissed on the lips.
That would have been weird. It's funny because you did mention that once, and I forgot it was your teacher, and I was like, yeah, I remember this story. All right, Michael, you're 1 for 2. Well played, sir. Zepp, what do you got for Michael?
Well, staying with the football theme this morning, during a high school football game, my brother, Chris, and I both received unsportsmanlike penalties on the same play for fighting each other for a grand total of 30 yards, and yeah, we were on the same team.
Oh, this could go either way. I'm going to go with true.
Oh, yeah, that happened.
Oh, yeah.
I love that story.
Proud moment for Skip and Dottie in the stands.
Oh, my God.
My brother, he was trying to fire me up. We were, down a couple of scores. I was a senior, and I was the guy on the team. And the captain, he's like, man, you're getting your ass kicked. I just kept on me. In the huddle, I took off after him. He goes running. I chase him down. And we ran like 15 yards. Just the two of us scampering across. Chased him down. We're wrestling around, and flags are flying.
I love that.
Yeah.
Man, just even a small percentage of that rage, if you could have taken it out on the other team.
That's what the coach would always say.
That's
you
exactly
guys fought the other team as hard as you fight each other. Yeah.
That's incredible. All right, Michael, well played, sir. You were 2 for 3. All right, here we go. I signed up for middle school football, Booker T. Washington Middle School, Hopkinsville, Kentucky. First time ever. I was excited. I was seeing myself as a next generation Bubba Smith, my favorite player. Wanted to go on the defensive side of the ball. My mom, when I told her, said, no, honey, that's not a game for you. You're not mean enough. And I never, ever even got to put on the shoulder pads.
Oh, wow. You're not mean enough. Let's go with that is a true statement.
That is a true statement. Her exact words. Ringing in my brain since 1975. What do you mean? Of course, I was like, oh, you mean I'm not mean enough? Immediately crumbled in front of her. She was like, see? Your brother Doug would have called me a nasty name. You got emotional. Yeah, she was right. Never played a down of football in my life. All right, so Michael, 3 for 4. Well played, sir. That's a strong first round. All right, sit tight. We're going to bring up caller number 2 and see what they got to share with us. Candace, who is that?
Ron from St. Paul Park.
Ron, good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
Are you ready to play Trust Us, Ron?
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I sit online here. I can't hear the other guy, and so it's kind of anticipation of what's right or wrong. I can't wait.
Okay. Well, the competition went 3 for 4, so you got your work cut out for you, brother. Here we go. It is go time, Ron. Tony's going to go first.
All right, Ron A. A few years back, there was a media charity football game, radio and TV people versus ex-Vikings, and I stepped in front of a pass and took it to the house by wrestling the ball away from the great ex-Viking Ahmad Rashad.
That's false.
Wow, that was a little too quick.
Wow. Man, you got to get up pretty early in the morning.
Could have happened.
I've been listening for years. I know you're pretty good.
Yes, apparently so.
Yeah, I think you would have led with that one more than a few times if that were the case. All right, Ron, good start. Let's see if Candace can fool you, sir.
All right. Well, in high school, I was on the dance team, the Tap Hairs, the Richfield Tap Hairs, and we would dance on the halftime show at the football games.
Uh-huh.
And Like Mike Evans said earlier this morning about the Cowboys, during our performance, I peed all over myself.
Balls.
You're right. I'm a liar, man.
You're
Liar.
terrible at it, too. You're terrible at lying. I can tell.
Oh, man.
Well, just chill out, Ron.
Compliment.
There are worse things you could be told, Candace Wheeler. Fair enough. All right, Ron. 2 for 2 without a moment's hesitation on either one. Zepp, what do you got for Ron?
Well, Ron, while at a Vikings-Cowboy game once, I threw an entire beer on a Cowboys fan who was trash-talking our section, and security tossed him out of the Metrodome.
True.
Oh, yeah, that happened.
Damn.
He got tossed out.
Yeah, he got tossed out. We just said, take it outside. Yeah, but...
They ain't going to throw Zepp out of there. They ain't throwing you out, man.
Well, I don't know. I don't know.
Man, Ron, 3 for 4, or 3 for 3, I should say. If you get this one right, Ron, those Peter Gabriel tickets are yours. All right, here we go. I attended Super Bowl 33 in Miami, Falcons Broncos. The halftime show featured Stevie Wonder, Gloria Estefan, and Big Bad Voodoo Daddy. At least that's what I was told, because I, in a very, very good seat, was sound asleep, drunk and jet-lagged. I was awakened by an NFL lackey and asked to leave because my seat was in view of several of the camera angles, and I was, as I said, drunk, jet-lagged, and sound asleep, and they kicked me out of my seat for the show. True or false?
God, Steve, I don't even know you. Oh, man.
He's the wild card.
50-50, flip a coin. I'm going to say true.
You got that right, baby. 100%. Shook awake, like, what? And there's a giant show going on 50 feet away from me.
That's hilarious.
Sir, you need to leave your seat. Like, oh, okay, fine. Anyway, Ron, man, 4 for 4. You know us you're reading us like a book. Michael, I'm sorry, 3 for 4, really good effort. That's going to earn you tickets to see the Minnesota Wild and the Colorado Avalanche preseason this Thursday at XL Energy Center. That's pretty sweet. But Ron, you are the big winner today, brother. Peter Gabriel tickets, October 3rd at the XL Energy Center. Congrats, Ron. Thanks to both gentlemen for playing. Well done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
You heard it. Yeah. It's a good hearty yeah. My favorite personal football story, my high school didn't have a football team. Tiny school, just didn't have a team. There's no way we could have possibly competed. The school was called University Heights Academy. And I graduated in 83. And the following year, 1984, an ABC affiliate. No, I'm sorry. The fall of 83, my freshman year of college, I was an hour away in Bowling Green, Kentucky at Western Kentucky University. And they had an ABC affiliate there, TV affiliate. And on Friday nights, they would do the high school scores for the area. And they reported once University Heights Academy with a win over Todd County, 31-3. It was on television because my brother, for 2 full seasons, called in to the Channel 13 in Bowling Green high school football hotline with an updated score from University Heights Academy. We went undefeated for 2 straight years. And this ABC affiliate, they would put the scores up with stats. And our old high school friends, you'd get a report like, University Heights over Evansville Day School, 41-0. And it would say, Steve Gorman with 7 field goals, a school record. And the guy, this is an honest-to-God thing. For 2 years, the team ran the table. And finally, a news director was like, man, you got to call that school, send a team over. This team's like killing everybody. And this guy called this, and by the way, everybody at my high school was aware of it and watched the Channel 13 news every Friday night.
How tremendous.
It was the biggest open secret in sporting history. And finally, someone called the school, the front office, said, can we speak to the principal? Yep. He goes, man, I'm calling from WBKO in Bowling Green. Got to talk about this Blazer football team. And the headmaster, the principal of the school is like, yeah, we've been waiting for this call. Yeah, there's no team. We don't know who's calling those scores in.
Fantastic.
Yeah, two full seasons of reporting.
Like that.
That's wonderful.
That's phoning in your job right there.
The man responsible is now the county judge executive of Warren County, Kentucky, Douglas J. Gorman. Miscreant turned do-gooder.
I love that.
It's great.
Yeah, that is fantastic. Well, we're taking some hot takes here on the show. with your hot take, rather, on the game on Sunday on the KQ Facebook page, or you can call it in. Actually, don't even bother. The most dangerous NFL stadiums based on local crime statistics, also coming here at 8 o'clock. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Monday, September the 25th. Good morning. Whew, baby. Desmond Child is going to be calling in a few minutes. Desmond Child is a man who has co-written over 80 top 40 hits. His records have sold 500 million records worldwide. First hit the big time to rock fans anyway when he got in the studio with a band called Kiss and wrote a song called I Was Made for Lovin' You.
Love it.
When everyone said Kiss went disco. Yeah, it worked. That was a number one song all over the world. Desmond Child has been on a tear ever since. And we're going to catch up with him in a few minutes. He's got a book out that is called Living on a Prayer, Big Songs, Big Life. Fascinating cat. I'm looking forward to that. In the meantime, as we just discussed briefly during the commercial break here behind the scenes, on Friday, we mentioned that Minneapolis legends The Replacements had a re-release of their 1985 album, Tim, remixed by Ed Stasium. Mixed really for the first time ever by a professional set of ears. And we were talking about how much we were looking forward to hearing it. Zep, you made the point of, well, the Replacements by design, they're supposed to sound crappy. It's part of the punk aesthetic, and I totally get that. Yeah. I put the record on Friday afternoon. Rosemary and I were in the car the first time, and I said, oh, let's listen to it. And we put it on, and I was not exaggerating when I went to social media to say I might stop crying soon.
Yeah.
Because an album that means so much to me over the years, sounding the way it sounded, blasting out of those speakers, it was like a brand new record that I already knew. It's impossible to get my arms around how much that record means to me generally, and then now to hear it this way. Absolutely mind-boggling.
Thank you, Ed Stasium. And probably maybe the only person on the planet that could have really gone in and done that album justice, because he has history there and with the original producer.
Yep.
And he knew what he was handling. And, I listened to it all the way through. It was very emotional. Tim, arguably their greatest album, front to back. I mean, there's Pleased to Meet Me, of course. Let It Be was my first introduction. But Tim just didn't have a weak moment in there. And
it's absolutely fantastic.
I could talk about it, but I'd rather talk with Desmond Child.
We'll come back to Tim. Desmond Child joins us on the KQ Morning Show right now. Desmond, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
It's a pleasure to speak with you. The book, Big Songs, Big Life, Living on a Prayer, Big Songs, Big Life, available where people buy books. It came out just a few days ago on the 19th. Desmond, where do you even begin? If you're not going to talk about your your life story, which is fascinating in its own, let's talk about music. What's the first story when you're thinking about writing a book? You're like, well, I got to put this one in.
Well, I was told by one of my best friends, Helene Cooper, she's a two-time Pulitzer Prize winner, that I should move the story of writing Living on a Prayer to the beginning of the book.
Okay.
And so we did that, and it worked like a charm, because it was like you're right into the center of the writing session with John Bon Jovi and Richie Sambora.
Desmond, I know you've got songs on your discography that I'm just assuming, and I've heard stories, and I know how this works. There are songs that you come in and you see just a mess, and you have to put it together and Frankenstein, get people to say, no, I see it, but let me do some work here. But at the same time, I got to think there's songs in your career where you just needed to nudge someone. They were so close, but they didn't even know it, and that's a genius skill in itself, is it not?
Well, I wouldn't call it genius, but, like when I went to visit with Aerosmith for the very first time, they had a start for a song, and they had a backwards guitar riff that it was like what they call a loop, and it went da-da, 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 and Stephen was singing, cruising for the ladies, da-da, da-da, cruising for the ladies. And I still hadn't said even hello. I was just standing there, and they said, well, what do you think of that? I said, that's bad. And they looked at me like, bad? I said, Van Halen wouldn't put that on the B-side of their worst record.
Oh, boy.
Just trying to get a rise out of them. No cracking of a smile, nothing. And so then Stephen sheepishly said, well, originally I was singing "Dude Looks Like a Lady," and Joe piped up and said, "But we don't know what that means." And it's like, okay, I know what that means. This is a hit title. Let's do this. And so we began building the story, and the second verse goes, "Never judge a book by its cover, or who you're gonna love by your lover." And that little couplet has stood the test of time, because it was a beautiful thing to put out there in the world. And look how ahead of its time that little bit of that song was.
That's pretty incredible. Desmond Child's with us on the KQ Morning Show. As a guy called in, either asked in happily or called in by someone else, hey, these guys need help, you've probably experienced all kinds of reactions and responses from people saying, hey, thanks for showing up, to maybe in this situation, people looking at you like you're the enemy at first.
That's true. In the case of Aerosmith, they did not want to write with an outside writer. They never had before. And, before they knew it, I got into their hearts, and they trusted me. And I kept being asked to come back, and we wrote What It Takes, Crazy, Ain't That a Bitch? I mean, we wrote so many songs together through the years. And when John Bon Jovi and Richie Sambora invited me to co-write with them, they had no plan of actually recording any song they wrote with me. Their kind of secret plan was to try to get songs for me to place with other artists, which did happen with Cher, and that's how she met Richie, with a song called We All Sleep Alone. But when the very first writing session, we wrote You Give Love a Bad Name, which was a title I brought in my back pocket, literally on a little piece of paper. And that's when John looked at me, and his face lit up, and I never saw so many teeth, actually. And I said, okay, that's $1 billion smile, which was proven right. And, this guy's a star. And Richie was just charming and just the most wonderful, glowing person. I said, these guys are winners. And so I just, kept being asked to come back. And the second song we wrote was Living on a Prayer. So 2 for 2, not bad, right?
No, to answer your question, no, that's not bad at all. That's a pretty good start right there. That's an amazing. It's pretty incredible too, because that's just one of a million stories in your book, and from this career with all these songs. But I think those two have to still stick out a little bit, though, right? I mean, You Give Love a Bad Name and Living on a Prayer. Those songs are still played as much today on classic rock radio as they were in real time.
I know. We just got notice of, like, I think it was like 3 or 4 months ago, that Living on a Prayer reached 1 billion plays on Spotify.
Incredible.
Billion. I mean, it's like, that's just, and Spotify has only existed like 8 years, right? So imagine all those decades of plays that we had before that. So that's the great thing about music. It gets played all over the world, and as time goes on, people fall in love with the songs. They don't even know who sang it. Yeah. They can't probably even pronounce the name of the artist. But, you go into the jungles and somebody's heard Living on a Prayer, that's for sure.
Yeah,
no doubt.
Desmond, your songwriting is unparalleled for years, many, many years. We love talking about, it's a Desmond Child song. Google his name and just hit, songography or something like that, and so people can see everything that you wrote. Have you ever been in a band? You ever recorded your own music, wanted to be on that side of it?
Absolutely. I always wanted to be a star. And so I had my first band, a vocal band, pop and, rock, Desmond Child and Rouge. And we're still going. And I sang with these gorgeous women, Maria Vidal, Diana Grasselli, and Miriam Valley. And they have just these gorgeous harmonies. We even made it to be with the musical guest of Saturday Night Live back in the day. So the thing that happened was that we weren't really with the right label. And everybody got somebody in their life saying, what do you need them for? You could be a solo artist. And that broke us up for a while. and during that window is when I started writing with Kiss and Aerosmith, Bon Jovi, with Joan Jett. I Hate Myself for Loving You. I mean, that's the Sunday Night Football theme. And a wonderful thing happened with that song. Dolly Parton recorded it for her Rockstar record album that's just coming out, and Joan Jett is a featured guest on it. So now I can put on my bio that I collaborated with Dolly Parton. What do you think about that? I mean, that's like the greatest honor ever.
It is. Yeah. I said the same thing when I went to Dolly World. I was like, hey, man, me and Dolly, we're partnering up here. Desmond Childs with us on the KQ Morning Show. It truly is an embarrassment of riches to try to figure out what question to ask you next. So many songs. And, of course, not just rock. I mean, La Vida Loca. I mean, your name is on so many hits that people know all around the world. Did you grow up in a musical household? Was the radio or were records being played on at all times?
My mother was a songwriter and a poet. Her name was Elena Casals, and she's known as La Musa. And later on now we have La Musa Awards for the Latin Songwriters Hall of Fame. There was always a song being written. And, being a little kid, I knew my mother's moods. So, if she was happy, she'd write a happy song. If she was sad, which was actually most of the time, she'd write these kind of heart, breaking boleros, Latin boleros. And so I grew up, I didn't know people didn't write songs. So by the time I was 2 years old and able to get up on the piano bench, I was composing, by ear, my own little concertos and things. And when I was 14, I wrote my first pop song to a girl that I had a crush on, and it was her birthday present. It was called Birthday Blues. And I got to sing it to her at my 40th high school reunion. So it was so cute.
That's
unbelievable.
She had
a little tear in her eye.
I'm sure she had a tear in her eye going, why didn't I end up with this guy?
Exactly.
Might have been a bit of a different life.
Exactly.
Living on a Prayer, big songs, big life. Desmond, I know you are very, very on a tight schedule, and I don't want to I don't want to force you to overstay your welcome here with us. You got other people that want to talk about it. Big songs, big life. Living on a Prayer. Thank you. I'll say this sincerely from the music buying public for all the songs you've given us. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, and I wish all of your listeners, have a lot of fun with the songs that I've written, and follow me on Desmond.Child on Instagram, because that's me there, like answering everyone. So
done.
Now I have like a 1.1 million followers. What do you think about that? They're my best friends.
That's beautiful. It's good. It's good to be Desmond Child. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
You got it. Cheers, brother.
Wow.
I met Desmond at a music festival in Mexico a few years ago. We had a mutual friend who put on a gig, and I was down there with my band Trigger Hippie. And couldn't have been just the greatest guy. Literally, like you just heard, he's just that friendly and that open. Because we're sitting at this dinner, and I'm looking at him, and I'm like, I just want to ask all these questions, and he's thrilled. He'll talk about anything he's been a part of. And I do think at one point I said, do you know anyone with a time machine? Because I'd like to get you in a couple sessions I was involved with along the way. That would have been helpful.
No kidding. I mean, and for years, after you found out inside the industry who this guy was and started hearing about some of his songs for years, you'd try to verbalize it on the air, and now we have Google. And I just tell people, just Google Desmond Child songs and then sit there and just go through the songs and go, what? That one, too. It's Poison, Alice Cooper. I mean, it just goes on and on and on.
Well, there's a thing, too. I mean, a guy like, there are plenty of fixers in every, there's people that come up and punch up a script in Hollywood. Like, we got a movie, we're going to make it, but we need, someone just come in and fix the script. And they come in and they just do the window dressing, but there's a difference. You take something good and make it great. And Desmond's a guy who's come in, and as he said, he's just made some minor suggestions, but he also has gone into studios legendarily and looked at an artist and said, all of this is terrible. We're starting from scratch. Like, no, I mean, whatever you need, he is a Swiss Army knife. If you need a little help, if you need a lot of help, the guy's record speaks for himself. Anyway, I was thrilled to get a chance to say hi to him right there in the air. That's a fascinating cat.
What a gracious guy. Wish we could have had him him on longer, too.
Yeah, I know.
He's got a lot of people want to talk to him.
I know. I felt like he wanted to keep talking, but yeah, we're getting the sign over here going, he's got to go, he's got to go. Maybe another time. So we have Robert Smith at 9 o'clock, right?
We do. We're gonna all feel better after we talk to Robert Smith. Maybe.
I was sorry, Beth. By the way, I did go to a friend's place to watch the Vikings game, which I don't generally do on Sundays, and I may have been overserved. Thank you for the ride home, Beth. And as she dropped me off, the last thing I remember her saying is, "I love the show. I hope you're not going to talk about the Vikings tomorrow morning because I'm pissed."
Yeah.
So sorry, Beth. I've got a little fog this morning. I missed the last pre-sale, but we have Robert Smith, our Vicon. We are going to talk a bit more Vikings. We're going to talk about, hey, now's your chance to get it out of your system on the KQRS Facebook page. We've got a post up there. Give us your take on the game. Here at 8:30, you remember Randolph White, who witnessed that F-35 going down?
Oh, sure.
What a fantastic character and dude and a great description. We'll revisit that audio because we now have the 911 audio from the pilot who ejected. Yeah, just wandered up to someone's house and asked if he could use their phone to call 911. We'll have that for you here at 8:30. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. In 30 minutes, Robert Smith is going to join us to break down this Vikings loss yesterday. As we look ahead, what is the reality of a locker room that's 0-3? What's it feel like in there? What's the mindset? What's most important? All those kind of things that no one like Robert Smith, no one better than Robert Smith can share his thoughts on that. So I'm looking forward to having him talk us all off the ledge, as it were. Quick thought, Zepp, your Steelers got a win last night.
Yeah, they picked up a win. I mean, they're not doing it, in decisive fashion, but 2-1 is 2-1. And I think Cleveland proved that they're, maybe not the worst team out there, even with.
Oh God, they have a great defense.
Yeah, that's it. They're hanging their hat on their defense. Because Watson's not playing well and that offense isn't playing too great. But, yeah, so they're sitting in pretty good shape.
The Steelers are going to be fine. To the Raiders fan, they showed last night a few times in the crowd with a big sign that says, "We deserve better." No, you don't. You've been in Las Vegas for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And don't give me what you're not the Oakland Raiders. You're the Las Vegas, Raiders. You're new in town.
Yep.
Get over it. You're in Vegas. You don't deserve anything. Just go play your craps and shut up. We deserve better. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah,
another. The broken heart of a football fan.
Yeah, well, okay, you've got some success you can look back on, historically speaking, that a lot of other franchises would happily trade for. So chill. That's what I say.
Wait a minute, Candace, it sounds like you have a hot take.
Well, I just want to let everyone know that since Steve Gorman got here in January, the Vikings are 1-4, so thanks a lot, Steve.
Yeah, it's fully my bad. I feel terrible about this. I was all bullish when I got to town. Felt good about that Giants game. It's been a downhill run ever since.
No, I just realized during the game yesterday watching it that sports is pain. It's just pure pain from the players who get injured to the fans and their broken hearts.
Yeah.
They get us all riled up. We spend money to go see them. We get dressed up. We make snacks. We were excited about Kyle Rudolph being back. And then, boom, pain.
Yeah.
Just pain, overflowing pain. And it's not really the Vikings' fault either. It is like bad coaching. I don't really understand why O'Connell didn't play the starters in preseason. I'm still confused about that. Do you have an answer to that, Steve Gorman?
I imagine that the thinking is you don't want to risk injury. And, it's more a question of figuring out who the rest of your roster is going to be. You know who the starters are. It's open auditions for everybody else.
And by the way, I think it's the Vikings' fault.
Yeah.
I just think it's a mix of the Vikings and the coaching and, everything. It's not just one person's fault.
Well, sure. No one's suggesting that it is, honey, just so you know. Secondly...
we did what we needed to do, but obviously left a lot out there. Could have played better, but we'll take it.
Yeah. You want to name one person.
Candace, I want to congratulate you on making it into your 30s before realizing that sports is pain.
Yeah.
You've led a charmed life, darling. Man, that's pretty great.
That's it.
I like the deep thoughts, the hot take with Candace. That's great. I look forward to that. That'll be great. Will we do that when the baseball playoffs start? Can you give us Twins hot takes as well?
I don't know.
No? Okay.
I can't saturate too much of my life with this sport.
There's something pops into your mind.
Okay, just let us know anytime you got one.
All right, cool.
We will fly that flag proudly. Speaking of flying flags proudly, remember when that F-35 went missing? Froggy went a-courting when that F-35 went a-missing down in South Carolina last week? There was the incredible eyewitness account from the missing F-35. A gentleman by the name of, what was it, Zepp?
Randolph White.
Oh,
A
Randolph.
local South Carolina. We'll just play a little bit of that here for you.
I was in the bathroom taking a shave, and I heard a screeching, between a screech and a whistle.
Yeah.
What in the world is this?
What in the world? Yes, indeed. The F-35 coming down. Came down, we learned that the pilot ejected right safely.
Yep.
But we didn't hear much more about the pilot because they were out looking for the plane after that, the $80 million F-35 that may or may not been flying around still at that time, but we now know that it had crashed, without any injury or loss of life or anything like that on the countryside. But what happened to the pilot? Well, the pilot wandered up to a house and asked if he could borrow the phone. This is the homeowner on a 911 call, and then the pilot chimes in.
I guess we got a pilot at our house, and he says he got ejected. So he ejected from the plane. So we just see if we could get some ambulance, please.
We're getting help on the way.
We had a military jet crash. I'm the pilot. We need to get rescue rolling. I'm not sure where the airplane is. It would have crash landed somewhere. I ejected.
Yeah.
Has there been a report of an airplane crash?
I have not seen any come up yet.
How embarrassing. We've all had work embarrassments. I had one this morning. I forgot to pre-sell Desmond Child, but mine wasn't losing it. Anybody talking about an airplane? Anybody find an airplane out there? What did it sound like when the pilot ejected?
I'm going to give that guy some credit, though. He is calm. He's cool as a cucumber, man. I mean, because, he has just ejected from which, by the way, correct me if I'm wrong, you don't actually practice that.
Ejecting? Probably not, I guess.
You may have a simulator.
Sure.
But the first time, they don't give you an F-35 and say, go out over the water and eject to make sure you know how to do it. So you hope to never do that ever in your life as a fighter pilot. He ejects, he lands, he gets to a phone. It would be hours before I could say anything like, hey, have you heard a report of a plane crash? Because it would be 2 hours of me going, and I flew out, and the plane was going crazy, and I couldn't control the joystick, and I saw the lake, and I mean, that's incredible. That's good training right there.
I'd have to take a shave one more time.
I guess we got a pilot at our house, and he says he got ejected. So he ejected from the plane. So we just see if we could get some ambulance, please.
We're getting help on the way.
We had a military jet crash. I'm the pilot. We need to get rescue rolling. I'm not sure where the airplane is. It would have crash landed somewhere. I ejected. Has there been a report of an airplane crash?
I have not seen any come up yet.
There you have it.
There are 911 calls, and then there are 911 calls.
No kidding.
Man, that is impressive. Still, just cool as a cucumber. You know what? When we just heard the eyewitness account with the screech when he's describing it, you know what it just made me think of is Slim Pickens at the end of Dr. Strangelove as he's leaving on the bomb.
Waving his hat in the air.
He's got that good scream too, man. That's
sure.
That is top-notch stuff.
There was a story over the weekend, and I didn't isolate much, but there was a bus crash in South Carolina. Also in South Carolina, you had the big F-35, then we had the bus crash. And what is it about people in South Carolina that just really want to describe it to us? This is a lady on the news. They didn't even give her name, just said, and the eyewitness sees it. She goes, oh, yeah, I saw the bus crash right over in that yard, and then does this. That's what the bus crash sounded like, she said. You get in South Carolina, in the South, they really want to verbalize what it sounded like.
Sounds like Candace doing a loon.
That's what I thought.
Whoa, my loon is way better than that.
Your loon is better, but can you do a loon driving a bus into a tree? No, you cannot. Wow.
That's pretty damn close. Yeah, I just Googled South Carolina crash eyewitness account to get Randolph White's audio, and this one also over the weekend. Just not bad.
I've screeched the brakes and made that sound a little bit. Man, that's pretty intense. By the way, I just saw this too. Speaking of weird things that happen on airplanes, in Bangladesh, a 12-year-old kid got on board a flight at an airport, no ticket. No, nothing. Just evaded every layer of multiple layers of airport security. Got on a plane bound for Kuwait. This is not an island hopper. It's a 777 that he got onto. Found an empty seat, was sitting there, buckled in, no problem. Legitimate passenger arrived for the seat, and then, of course, said, like, I think this is my seat. The kid, this is a classic 12-year-old kid. You can evade security. You can get through past everything designed to keep the wrong person off the wrong plane. You make it to the seat, and then you just can't bluff your way out of that point. You know, that should have been the easiest part of his day. All you had to say was, oh, I'm sorry, I just misread my ticket. And get up and just take any other empty seat and hope no one shows up for that one. But, of course, when faced with an adult looking right at him, that's when the kid cracked.
Yeah, for sure. I suppose people just thought, oh, there's a kid. Someone must be in charge of him.
Yeah.
You know, obviously he's here for a reason. He just wouldn't wander in by himself. So,
what kind of kid? No, kids never do things like that. Oh, by the way, not like the two kids in Florida. Another crazy story. A 10-year-old boy and his 11-year-old sister had their electronics taken away from mom, their video games, their electronics, their iPhones. She just said, that's it. Moratorium on all this stuff. You're not following the family rules. They were not happy about that. So what did they do? They didn't break into her closet and grab their iPhones back. They broke into the garage and took her car. Again, 10-year-old, a 10-year-old boy, his 11-year-old sister got their mom's car and took it for a joyride for 200 miles.
What?
Not 2 miles, 200 miles before they were pulled over by a cop. A 10-year-old kid in the driver's seat.
What?
Puts his hands out the window like, oh, he's terrified, gets out. The passenger's his 11-year-old sister. Again, 200 miles. The mom came and picked them up. She's decided not to press charges. The officers are giving these kids what they're saying it's just a traffic violation.
They're making these cars too damn easy to drive now. Back when we were kids, as a 10-year-old, you couldn't physically drive a vehicle.
No, I would have pulled muscles in my abdomen trying to turn.
Right, you had to slide down off the seat to hit the brake or something. And if it was a stick, forget about it. But, yeah, they're just making them too damn... 200 miles. I mean, just
200 miles.
Just cruising along there, all right.
What if the kid took a drag off the cigarette and looked up at the cop and said, what took you so long?
Didn't think you had it in you. Yeah. I'm picturing... I can remember being 10 very clearly. I mean, specifically that year, right after my 10th birthday, we moved. So that's a time in my life that's very, very viscerally... It's available to me at any moment. Like Jaws came out that summer. There were so many things about the summer I turned 10. The idea of being behind the wheel of an automobile, absolutely unfathomable. Just as likely that I'd get into the... It's no different than, stealing an airplane for me at that age. It's just as unlikely.
Right. I didn't know what all that stuff did.
And by the way, if at any point in time in my life, if I took a car that I didn't ask to borrow and drove it 2 feet, much less 200 miles, I would just be dead. My parents, there were very strict rules. That's not your car. It's my car. You ask me. I mean, if my mom said, honey, I need you to run to the store to get some milk, I was like, okay, can I take the car? I mean, I would still ask because the rule was very firm. Taking the parents' car and going 200 miles, that's a death sentence. And trust me, it'd be 2,000 miles. I just keep going. Wait till if I see the Pacific, I'll hit the brakes.
There are kids that don't fear their parents enough, I think.
Yeah, I'd say so.
All right, we're going to get along to this. Robert Smith, we're going to take our medicine, see what he thinks. Football player, NFL analyst, professional. Is there some lipstick we can put on this pig? Kevin on the KQ Facebook page had a better day yesterday. He was visiting his mother-in-law. Much more enjoyable, he said. All right, Robert Smith, 9 o'clock. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Monday, September the 25th. Good morning. Moments from now, Robert Smith will be joining us. He will share some insight on the state of the Minnesota Vikings, the NFL in general. I mean, yesterday was a pretty wild day, even let's remove the Vikings for a moment. The Miami Dolphins scored 70 points. That is the most points scored since 1950 in an NFL game.
Unbelievable.
1950. And by the way, had a chance to tie the all-time record of 73, but knelt at the end of the game instead of taking a chip shot field goal, which would have put. And so at the end of the thing, believe me, there's not a coach in the league who doesn't know that 73 is the most points ever scored. And after the game, people were like, well, I mean, they didn't want to rub it in. Of course, they're not going to go for the tie. I guarantee you, if it had been to break the scoring record, how do you not do that? If it was, if they were sitting on 71 points in the final moments of the game, how do you not kick a field goal to then have the highest score of all time in the league?
Right, rub it in. They're grown men.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, right.
By the way, the Denver Broncos special teams were probably offended that they knelt instead of, you didn't give us a chance to block the kick, man. We'll have to see. It is that was just between that and what's going on in Chicago, man. Quite an impactful day. And with that in mind, Robert Smith is on the horn right now joining us. Robert, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
I'm going to put it in your lap. You shared this tweet. The Vikings are 0-3 despite Cousins leads the league in passing. Jefferson leads the league in receiving yards. Hunter has the league lead in sacks. Okay, Robert, you, sir, make it make sense. What do we do? What do we say? What do we feel?
All you can do is go back and play. And I know that people don't want to hear that, but that's all you can do at this point. Like, it's the most frustrating part of the game that, you can coach teams up during the course of the week. You can talk about the finer details. We need to focus on this. We need to do that. But then, whether it's an interception, it's time clock management during the course of the game, like those little things come back and haunt you at some point. And then, the Caleb Evans play, I mean, that bounce could not have been any stranger.
No.
I mean, he goes from an interception, goes through his hands, happens to knock it perfectly off of his helmet, and it's caught for a touchdown. Like, those are things that you just can't account for.
It is that simple sometimes, Robert, and this is the part fans struggle with the most. It is as simple as that's the way the ball bounced.
Yeah, and, again, people don't want to hear it, but that's what 0-3 looks like for this team. There's no way this team should be 0-3, but then people could look at last year and say there's no way you should have won whatever it was, 10 one-score games or 11, setting an NFL record. I mean, every single one-score game.
Is it silly to suggest that it almost makes the focus of ahead of next week, it makes the mission statement that much simpler when your back is in such a corner like this for the team?
Well, I mean, yeah, you can talk about that stuff all you want, but ultimately it comes down to how you prepare and how you execute. And again, I know that people don't want to hear that, but that's what you have to do as a player. You have to break it down to your particular assignment on a play, execute it perfectly, and hope that the plan is good. I will say this, I think, you live by the sword, die by the sword, and everybody was all. The defense looked under Ed Donatell a year ago, not taking enough chances, not blitzing enough. And, we saw yesterday time and time again, there were incidents where, you bring the pressure and you leave yourself exposed on the back end. And, 400 yards passing from Herbert, I mean, that's, not a winning formula.
No, it's not. Robert, but Gary here on our Facebook page says poor play, poor execution, poor ball handling, poor communication, poor clock management. A lot of people are echoing that on the Facebook page. Robert Smith, you don't deserve this, but I'm going to put you on the spot. You're the head coach of the Minnesota Vikings and the GM. Where do you start week 3? I mean, because now that fan fodder we talked about last week with trading Cousins and mixing it up is, I know 3 weeks in is ridiculous to talk about already, but let's throw it out there. Is there something you can do to shake up this team, moving some personnel?
Well, they already brought in Cam Akers, and Madison, had a decent day yesterday, needs to hang on to the ball better, but obviously he wasn't dressed for the game, so, maybe that makes things better. Maybe those moves have already been made.
Yeah.
Robert, when you look back, is there a year either with the Vikings or at Ohio State, was there a really rough start to a season that you can kind of relate to what the team's thinking and going through right now in that locker room?
I can't remember one particular season. I mean, we never finished worse than 8-8, and we only missed the playoffs one year, and we were in it until the final game of the season in Cincinnati. I think that was 94 or 95. So, I can't really relate to that. I just know that whenever things are going poorly, you just go back. You go back and you go to work. You work that much harder and try and hope that, everything that you do on game day results in a win. But that's a frustrating part of it. That's life in the NFL. Any given Sunday isn't just a thing that people say. It's the truth.
It certainly is. Let's move off the Vikings for a moment. If I had said to you on Saturday night, I think the Dolphins are going to ring up 70, how hard would you have laughed at me?
Wow. I mean, very hard.
It's more astounding now that we've all had a night's sleep on it, really. It doesn't even make sense.
No, it doesn't make sense. And, I heard that, Denver didn't offer Mike McDaniel. So, that may have been some of it, that he's just kind of rubbing it in a little bit, although I find that a little hard to believe. Supposed to do, just lay down. It's impressive, I mean, to say the least. But, all kinds of speed. I saw some statistic earlier today, like 6 of the top fastest speeds recorded in the league on plays, between Tyreek Hill and Devon A-Chain were, with the Dolphins. They just have speed to burn, and that, they say speed kills, and it's certainly the truth, and certainly killed the Broncos yesterday.
Yeah, it's there's tough losses, and then we put up 20 and lost by 50. It's still like, no matter how you look at it, it's kind of astounding. I think
it blew through the over on that one. I don't think the over was anywhere near 90.
I would hope not. I would certainly not think that would be the case. Imagine that grease fire. How in the world does Sean Payton stand up at Broncos facility today and talk about this week's game plan? How long does it take for a locker room to get over the shell shock of a loss like that, do you think?
Well, they always say 24 hours. You have 24 hours to celebrate a win or to lament the loss, basically. So you just get back in the locker room and you do your job, and that's life in the NFL. We laugh about it, but it's people's livelihood, and there's pride on the line, and families, that they're trying to take care of, and generations of families, and that's just it's just part of it. You have to go out and you have to prepare.
Vikings this week have the Carolina Panthers. You saw I think week 1 you did the Panthers game, right, with Atlanta?
Right.
What's that team?
Bryce Young was the quarterback then, and Andy Dalton stepped in yesterday. So I'm not sure if Bryce Young is going to be back. But, the thing you notice right away is, they have a lot of problems separating at wide receiver. So, that's the biggest problem. They moved up, trading away DJ Moore, which is, not been good for him, obviously, being in Chicago. But, they bring in DJ Chark, had a touchdown yesterday. But defensively, Brian Burns is a beast. He's a guy that you're always going to have to account for. They move him around a lot. Frankie Louvu's one heck of a player. Just got his citizenship a few weeks ago. I was at an event with him up in Minnesota back in June. Great guy. So they've got some horses defensively.
Robert, let's go back to your days here with the Vikings. Who's the guy that nobody would expect for you to answer this question? Who's the badass? Was there a kicker or like a cornerback who was actually like a Wolverine, like nobody would have messed with him, the last guy you'd expect?
Well, Fuad Reves kind of took down Johnny Randall wrestling in the locker room. So that was a bit of a surprise for everybody.
Seriously.
Oh, boy, we could really use the video of that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be fun. We'd have some fun with that video, though you have to be careful, pushing Johnny too hard on that one. There aren't too many people that are going to say, hey, well, Fuad got him, so let's mess around with him and show him a video.
Yeah, man, that's really something.
Choose your battles carefully.
No kidding. Another thing while we have you, looking at the NFC North, Green Bay had a comeback win. That's pretty impressive. Detroit looks like a pretty good team. But, man, it seems like it's lost on the national perspective just what a grease fire the Chicago Bears are and have been for a while.
Man, it's brutal. I mean, you're talking, I believe, 13 straight losses now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a complete mess. And, I haven't broken down, play calling. Obviously, Justin Fields is still having problems processing plays. He's just not making decisions quickly enough. He's not taking opportunities to drive the ball downfield. And it's hard in the National Football League to get 11 and 12 play drives where nothing goes wrong. You don't get a penalty. Something stupid doesn't happen. You have to be able to create explosives. And oftentimes you need them out of your passing game, and they're certainly not getting that with him.
No, definitely not. Speaking of Justin Fields, if memory serves, it's been a couple days now. I think, did Ohio State play Saturday?
Oh, yeah.
Did they have a game? I don't remember what happened. Do you want to fill me in, Robert? I'll go ahead and give you that moment.
Oh, man, it was awesome. Especially, you go back to the semifinal game against Georgia, losing on that field goal attempt at the end.
Yep.
It was nice to see, nice drive at the end of the game and something close on fourth down, even if it was against 10 defensive players on 2 consecutive plays.
Yeah, no, it's a big win. Definitely a big win for the Buckeyes on the road there. And like I think I said Friday, I'm never cheering for Ohio State unless they're playing Notre Dame. So well done.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, Ohio State head coach.
That was like me with Michigan back in the day.
Of course.
Ryan Day is not going to be having lunch with Lou Holtz anytime soon. I don't know if you caught any of that post game, but boy, did he unload on Lou Holtz for suggesting that Ohio State wasn't a tough team, which is ridiculous. And Ryan Day let him have it with both barrels.
Yeah, he did. To the victor go the, Denny Green used to say it in a much more colorful way. To the victor go the, spoils.
Yeah.
Hey, Robert, I've been meaning to ask you your schedule. You just had the Jags Texans. Real quick, while we got you, what's going on in Jacksonville? That's a team that had so much wind in their sails, and right now they seem to be a bit adrift, to put it nicely.
Yeah, I mean, they should have beaten Kansas City last week.
Yeah.
And yesterday, just a lot of self-inflicted wounds. You can't take anything away from the Texans, though. They played much better, especially on the defensive side. So they're just a mess right now. And it's kind of hard to point out exactly what it is. I mean, Doug Peterson handed over the play calling to Press Taylor, who's Zach Taylor's brother.
Mm-hmm.
And, thought that was a really good combination. Trevor Lawrence obviously played much better last year than he did when he was under Urban Meyer and improved in just about every category. They had the big playoff comeback win against the Chargers. And, everybody thought that they were just going to kind of roll into the season and continue with that momentum. But that's not the way life in the NFL works. And the crazy thing is, you add a guy like Calvin Ridley, he's a deep threat, speed to burn, and you think that everything's going to work out fine. But again, looking at the game, just unforced errors.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's a penalty, whether it's a guy just not doing his assignment, just communication issues. And it was a big surprise. I mean, just based on what we had seen from the Texans the week before and what we had seen from Jacksonville, even defensively, against the defending world champions, we just thought that going against the Texans, I mean, the Texans are down. We talk about having some issues with some injuries. They're down to their third center, their second rookie center. They have a guy that's been there a month that had never played left tackle in at left tackle. They had some injuries at the right tackle position, the left guard position. I mean, just about everywhere. And somehow they found a way to turn it around. I'm happy for D'Amico Ryans. I mean, he's just pure joy, man. He's something else. And it's funny, Bill Anderson. He said, I would literally run through a wall for that guy, and
awesome.
He literally could run through a wall.
Yeah.
But they just played so much better defensively, and they've kind of had Jacksonville's number over the last few years. I think since 2020, they've now beaten them 7 times, and they had like a total of 5 wins against the rest of the league in that same time period.
Yeah, division rivals, man. It's a thing, to be sure. Hey, Robert, any chance you're going to call a Vikings game this year?
I mean, there's always a chance.
Okay.
We're the 6th crew, so the worse the Vikings play, the more of a chance there is.
Well, let's get you up here to U.S. Bank, man. I hope it works out.
No, well, I hope it doesn't work out.
That's a good point.
I hope they don't slide to the 6th Fox.
Yeah. All right, where are you headed this weekend?
We're headed to New Orleans, so we've got Tampa Bay and New Orleans.
There are worse places to pass the time. It's always a pleasure. Thank you very much, brother.
You got it, my man.
See ya.
Later.
So, yeah, not much to sugarcoat there. But, I mean, what I like about the Vikes, if there's a slim sliver of hope to hang on to, is these have been one-score games, and they've blown it with a lot of turnover, a lot of mistakes. I mean, if you just got to – they're professionals. You know, a lot of these guys have played together. They don't have that many new moving parts. So you think if they can just clean it up and keep those one-score games, because what I like is they're scoring in the fourth quarter. Mm-hmm. They're scoring down the stretch. They're giving themselves a chance, and they're fighting. So they've just got a tough 5 weeks coming up here with, the Chiefs and the 49ers coming to town. And the Panthers, say what you want about Carolina. Anytime you go on the road in the NFL, it's tough.
Oh, no question
about it. Ask the Cowboys about that.
Yeah, no kidding. I believe, is it Tampa Bay that doesn't, the only team without a turnover so far.
Oh, really?
And so it's possible if the Vikings can hang on to the ball quickly. Bill Belichick yesterday was asked on a show on WEEI, was asked about Travis Kelce. And Bill Belichick, this is a legit quote. I'm not making this up. I don't have the audio. I would say that Travis Kelce's had a lot of big catches in his career, but I think we all saw the biggest one yesterday. Referencing Taylor Swift. Come on, Belichick.
Taylor Swift. Is she the worst thing to happen to music or to football? I can't decide which.
Depends on how much you like winning.
I thought she looked great. I thought she looked cute. I don't really know if this relationship is going to go anywhere, though, because they weren't even holding hands when they were walking out.
Yeah. She doesn't look good in red.
If I look like a guy and the guy likes me, we're always holding hands.
You don't think this is a real relationship.
And you are, and just by the way, I mean, we could spend the rest of the day talking about all the things you and Taylor Swift have in common.
Did you see her clap? She's got such a dorky clap. She's so pretty, but she was like...
Yeah. She's not used to being on the I'm the fan here. She was overplaying the fan hand like no one's business. Still trying to impress a guy's mom though. You gotta like her for that.
I love Taylor Swift.
All right, fair enough.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Monday, September the 25th, which means this is your last call to book your full trip package for KQ up north with BigDeck.com. Join the KQ Morning Show for a long weekend at Cragun's Resort on Gull Lake, October 5th through the 8th. Book your stay now at 92KQRS.com, sponsored by BigDeck.com and Cragun's Resort on Gull Lake. We're going to have fun. There's absolutely no reason for you not to be there to enjoy it with us. Let's go. Saturday, college football day. Don't know if you caught any of the Clemson-Florida State game. There was a great, heartwarming, a wonderful human interest story. The kind of story that gets my wife involved. Clemson's playing Florida State. Clemson's down this year. They're really struggling. Florida State's top-ranked. I mean, not top-ranked, but a top-10 team. Early in the game, Clemson brought out a kicker. His name was Jonathan Whites. He had spent 4 years as a backup kicker for Clemson, never attempted one kick. Never got in. He was behind the greatest kicker in Clemson history. So this year, his 5th year, he's still taking classes online. He's like, screw it, I'm going back home. I'll forget my degree online. I'm done with football. Well, Clemson's kicker has been terrible through the first few weeks. So Dabo Swinney, the coach, called this kid Monday of this past week. Called him Monday, goes, hey, man, well, you want to come back? We need a kicker this year. Come back and let's see if you still got it. Kid shows up Monday night. They put him on the field. He goes 7 for 8 in kicking field goals. He's on the team. Well, they're playing Florida State this week. Wow. He comes in the first quarter, drills like a 40-yarder right out of the gate. Boom, hits his first attempt. It's an amazing story. Late in the game, though, so he's got some extra points and some field goals throughout the game. It is 24-all with a minute and a half left. And Clemson lines up a kick from like 34 yards, and Jonathan White's, he shanks it. He goes left. So it's like kind of gut-wrenching.
Yeah.
But the whole point of this story is this. Greg McElroy goes, oh, what would have been a Hollywood ending? And his broadcasting partner, Sean McDonough, said, yeah, but the writers are on strike.
Oh, not bad.
It was fantastic.
Yeah.
I just spit when I heard that. I saw the tweet with the line, and I was like, boy, that's
why
good
we need
stuff
the writers
right there. That's exactly right. So it was a great story. They ended up losing in overtime. What are you going to do?
That's still a great story. The kid came back, and
tremendous.
Hasn't been with the team, hasn't been training,
No.
He's been taking some online classes, getting on with his life to come back in and, and just put a foot on the ball and contribute to the team.
Well, I hope they shunned him and ignored him and made him feel horrible.
Well, that's the natural way of things.
He's a kicker. Even if you're successul, you get that.
Yeah, that's very true. Don't think you're a part of this team, man.
Never.
You're not. So if you are just joining us, you missed Robert Smith, who gave us reason to not think the season is lost. I mean, put it this way. I said to Robert, hey, are you going to call a Vikings game this year? And he said, well, we're the 6th team at Fox, so they would have to really struggle. And I said, oh, good, we hope so. And he goes, no. And he said, I don't expect to. Like, he's looking at it going, no, they're going to be fine. At least they'll be in the middle of the pack. Right. But I don't know. I'm still thinking, like, man, just burn the whole thing down. We got some offensive weapons. All we need is the guy to sling them, and we need some offensive linemen, and we're good to go.
Yeah, I mean, they're really going to have to tank to. Well, I mean, I think next year's class of quarterbacks, I haven't looked at it real deep, is decent. But boy, you're going to have.
There's a couple that are pretty much like everyone thinks are sure bets.
Yeah,
but after that,
generational.
It's just coin toss.
But I mean, you're going to have to lose 14 games to have a shot at one of those guys, probably.
I think that's exactly the case. The Chicago Bears have lost 13 straight games. Earlier this year, they had $100,000 worth of equipment stolen out of Soldier Field.
Right.
And their defensive coordinator resigned in really mysterious circumstances amid reports of an FBI investigation. Mm-hmm. That is a grease fire that just keeps pouring grease into its own lap down there. That's it's just fantastic. And hey, look, I love the city of Chicago, but I love laughing at Chicago fans.
You know what's going to happen, don't you?
What's that?
They're going to end up probably not winning a game this season. Maybe they'll eke out one win, probably against the Vikings, because that's just how the North goes.
Yep.
They'll get the number 1 draft pick. Maybe they take that kid out of USC and then trade Fields to the Vikings.
I didn't see that one coming.
Oh, yeah.
Whew. Oh, boy.
Yeah.
I got a lot of work cut out for him. Make no mistake about it. We got 2 Monday night games again tonight. Yeah. And I've already forgotten what they are, but one of them looked good and one I didn't care about. But who cares? We still got football. I'm still, it's still very much the honeymoon period. Early in the season, like yesterday, the second round of games yesterday, Dallas, Arizona was only interesting because Arizona was winning the whole game. But otherwise, it should have been a blowout. The other 2 games. At one point, Rosemary goes, "Are you even watching this?" I'm like, "No, shush." No, I have to have it on. I'm still filling up the drought cup from 6 months without football. Doesn't matter who's playing; it's on. The volume's a little louder than it needs to be, and I'm bored. This is perfect. It's all I wanted for 6 months.
Well, first out of the gate tonight, you have the Eagles in Tampa Bay, and then the Rams are in Cincinnati.
The Eagles, Tampa Bay is going to be interesting. Rams, Cincinnati, too. Well, the Rams are better than expected, and the Bengals are a bit of a barn fire, so we'll see.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I'll be watching. Let's look back. How about a history lesson?
Today, on this day,
nothing happened.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. So what happened?
What is it, Steve?
Oh, I'll tell you what it is. Check this out. Monday, September 25th, 2023. Let's go back to September 25th, 1965. In a late season game that meant nothing, the Kansas City Athletics were playing the Boston Red Sox. Kansas City, because they were doing so poorly and selling so few tickets, they signed Satchel Paige to come out of retirement and pitch for them, thinking, we'll sell more tickets. They did sell more tickets. A whole lot of people turned up, and they put Satchel Paige in the game. He was sitting in a bullpen rocking chair until that point, literally in a rocking chair, and they had a nurse rubbing his arm to play up the shtick. He came into the game and held the Red Sox scoreless for 3 innings. He was 60. He was 60 years old, and he held and they did the one hit from Carl Yastrzemski, 3 innings, striking out 1. Everybody else ground out or flied out. No runs scored. Well done, Satchel Paige, whose second greatest quote is, "Don't look back, something might be gaining on you." But his greatest quote, Tony Lee.
Oh, how old would you be if you didn't know how old you was?
Man, I love that. Now, why isn't that knitted into pillowcases all over the world?
Can you imagine if he had gotten a shot at the majors in his prime?
No, forget it. I mean, just absolutely insane what that man was able to do. On this day in 2001, Michael Jordan made a big announcement. No one had seen him play basketball since 1998. The Bulls famously got their second three-peat over the Utah Jazz. The iconic last shot of that series where Michael Jordan strong-armed Brian Russell out of his way, hit the shot, held the pose, boom, Bulls greatest team of the 90s, Bulls arguably greatest team ever. Jordan leaves atop Mount Rushmore. And then 3 years later announced on this day he was coming back to play for the Washington Wizards. A man who had unified basketball fans all around the world for very different reasons in the 90s, then unified everyone in 2001 because we all got together and went, no, don't do this. Please, Michael, don't do this. And it wasn't horrible. It wasn't great, but I'll tell you what, he was a lot better than history remembers him, and that's why he shouldn't have done it, because you were only going to be remembered as not being what you once were.
One of the great commercials yesterday that I saw was Dan Marino. Let me see, I had Emmett Smith on there, Jerry Rice. I forget who else was on the couch, all talking about coming out of retirement. At this age, they're watching the game together.
Sure.
Hey, let's come out of retirement. Then they go into a dream sequence with Jerry Rice, not being able to get it done on the field. And I thought the same thing. These elite athletes are not going to quit until they know they can't play anymore.
It's very true. You can tell a man his day is past, and that man will look at you and say, "You don't know what you're talking about," as he twists ligaments and breaks bones on his way to the locker room.
Yeah.
The KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.